The Great Pyramid's Mysteries. In 1993, a German engineer made a discovery that would change everything we thought we knew about the pyramids. 3 days later, he was banned from Egypt forever. His crime? Finding a door that was never meant to be opened. A door with copper handles, sealed for over 4,000 years, hiding something so dangerous that the most powerful man in Egyptian archaeology would do anything to keep it buried. Tonight, we're going to uncover what's really behind that door, and why they're so desperate to keep you from knowing the truth. Welcome back to the channel, where we dive deep into the mysteries they don't want you to solve. I'm your host, and if you're new here, we expose the hidden truths behind history's greatest cover-ups. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell, because tonight's revelation is going to shake you to your core. For nearly 5,000 years, we've been fed the same story about the Great Pyramid of Giza. Pharaoh Khufu built it as his tomb. Thousands of workers, 20 years of construction, simple tools. End of story. But here's what they're not telling you. Everything you've been taught about the pyramids is a carefully constructed lie. And the man responsible for maintaining this deception has spent decades silencing anyone who gets too close to the truth. Tonight, we're going to expose the forbidden evidence. We'll reveal the impossible engineering that defies explanation. We'll show you the sealed chambers that authorities refuse to open. And we'll uncover the terrifying reason why one man has controlled every secret buried beneath Egypt's sands. But I need to warn you, once you see what I'm about to show you, you'll never look at ancient history the same way again. The truth is far more disturbing than any official story you've ever heard. So buckle up, because we're about to journey into the forbidden secrets of Giza. Secrets that could rewrite human history itself, if they're ever allowed to see the light of day. Let's start with the biggest lie of all. The lie that this monument was ever a tomb. Picture this. You're standing before the last remaining wonder of the ancient world. A monument so massive it contains enough stone to build a wall around France. For generations, tour guides have repeated the same comfortable story. Pharaoh Khufu commissioned this masterpiece around 2550 BC as his eternal resting place. Case closed. But here's where the story starts to crumble. When archaeologists first entered the Great Pyramid, they expected to find what every other Egyptian tomb contained: golden treasures, elaborate wall paintings depicting the pharaoh's journey to the afterlife, hieroglyphic inscriptions praising his divine rule, and, most importantly, evidence of the pharaoh himself. They found none of it. Not a single piece of gold, not one hieroglyph, no mummy, no sarcophagus, no burial goods whatsoever. The pyramid was completely empty, stripped bare as if it had never been intended as a tomb at all. Think about that for a moment. The ancient Egyptians were obsessed with the afterlife. They spent fortunes preparing elaborate burial chambers, filling them with everything the deceased would need in the next world. Yet their greatest pharaoh supposedly built the most expensive tomb in history and left it completely empty? It gets stranger. Most Egyptian tombs are covered in detailed inscriptions called the pyramid texts, magical spells designed to guide the dead pharaoh through the underworld. These texts appear in dozens of other pyramids throughout Egypt, but the Great Pyramid? Completely silent. No texts, no inscriptions, no religious decorations of any kind. Mainstream Egyptologists have a convenient explanation for this glaring absence. They claim grave robbers must have stripped everything away over the millennia. But here's the problem with that theory. The pyramid was sealed when early explorers first broke in. The entrance had been lost for over 1,000 years, hidden beneath debris and sand. How exactly did these mysterious grave robbers get inside a monument that no one could even find? More troubling still, these supposed robbers would have had to move massive granite blocks weighing several tons each, blocks that seal the internal chambers. Even with modern equipment, moving these stones would require heavy machinery and expert planning. Ancient tomb robbers armed with basic tools? impossible. But perhaps the most damning evidence against the official story is this. Archaeologists have never found a single inscription from Khufu's own time period claiming he built the pyramid. Not one. The only connection between Khufu and the Great Pyramid comes from a few mysterious markings discovered in hidden chambers. Markings that weren't found until hundreds of years after the pyramid was first explored. Here's where it gets really suspicious. These markings, supposedly proving Khufu's ownership, were discovered by Colonel Howard Weiss in 1837. Weiss was under enormous pressure to make a significant discovery. His funding was running out, and his reputation was on the line. Several researchers have since questioned whether these markings might have been forged, painted by Weiss himself to secure his place in history. The evidence supporting this forgery theory is compelling. The hieroglyphs contain spelling errors that wouldn't have appeared in Khufu's time. They're painted in a modern pigment that wasn't available to ancient Egyptians. And most suspicious of all, they appear only in chambers that Weiss discovered, chambers that had supposedly been sealed for thousands of years. But let's assume for a moment that these markings are genuine. Even if Khufu's name really is carved inside the pyramid, does that prove he built it? Throughout history, rulers have claimed credit for monuments constructed by their predecessors. They have added their names to existing structures, taking credit for achievements that weren't theirs. Khufu could easily have been doing the same thing, restoring or modifying a structure that was already ancient when he found it. Consider the timeline mainstream historians want us to accept. They claim the pyramid was designed, planned, and constructed in just 20 years. 20 years to move over 2 million stone blocks, some weighing up to 15 tons each. That means workers would have had to quarry, transport, and perfectly position one massive stone block every 2 minutes, working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for 2 decades straight. Even with modern construction equipment, this timeline would be nearly impossible. With primitive tools and manual labor, absolutely ludicrous. Yet this is the official story we're expected to believe without question. The deeper you dig into the official narrative, the more holes appear. No contemporary records of construction, no evidence of the massive workforce that would have been required, no explanation for how they achieved such impossible precision with primitive tools, no logical reason for building the world's most expensive tomb and leaving it completely empty. Every piece of evidence points to the same disturbing conclusion. The Great Pyramid was never Khufu's tomb. It was something else entirely, something far more sophisticated and mysterious than mainstream archaeology wants to admit. But if it wasn't a tomb, what was its real purpose? And who possessed the advanced knowledge needed to construct something so impossibly precise? The answers to these questions lead us down a path that mainstream historians desperately want to keep hidden. Because once you start questioning the official story of the pyramids, everything else starts to unravel too. Now that we've exposed the lie about the pyramid being a tomb, let's examine something even more disturbing: the engineering itself. Because when you look closely at how this monument was actually constructed, you'll discover technology that shouldn't have existed 4,500 years ago. Let's start with something that will blow your mind. The Great Pyramid is aligned to true north with an accuracy of just 3/60ths of a degree. That's more precise than the Royal Observatory in Greenwich, England. To achieve this level of accuracy, the builders would have needed to understand complex astronomical calculations and possess surveying equipment more sophisticated than anything historians claim existed in ancient Egypt. But here's where it gets truly impossible. Modern attempts to replicate this precision using the tools supposedly available to ancient Egyptians have failed completely. Even with our advanced instruments, achieving this level of accuracy is extremely challenging. Yet somehow workers armed with nothing but copper chisels and rope manage to surpass our modern capabilities. The precision doesn't stop there. The pyramid's base is leveled to within just 2 centimeters across its entire 230-meter length. To put that in perspective, that's like building a football field that's perfectly flat within the width of your thumb. Construction engineers today struggle to achieve this level of precision, even with laser levels and computer-guided equipment. But the real mystery lies in the stones themselves. Deep within the pyramid are massive granite blocks, some weighing over 80 tons each. These aren't local limestone that could be quarried nearby. This granite came from Aswan, over 500 miles away. Think about that. Ancient Egyptians somehow transported stones weighing as much as a modern passenger jet across 500 miles of desert, then lifted them hundreds of feet into the air and positioned them with millimeter precision. When modern engineers examined these granite blocks, they discovered something that should be impossible. The stones show clear evidence of machine tooling, not hand carving, machine tooling. Engineer Christopher Dunn spent years analyzing these blocks and found perfectly round drill cores, precision saw marks, and surface finishes that would be difficult to achieve even with modern power tools. Here's the most shocking part. Dunn found evidence of drilling techniques that required rotation speeds of over 2,000 RPM and feed rates that would destroy any bronze or copper tool within minutes. The ancient builders weren't just using advanced tools, they were using tools more sophisticated than what we had until the Industrial Revolution. Let me show you just how impossible this really is. In 2013, a team of experimental archaeologists attempted to recreate these drilling techniques using the tools mainstream historians claim were available to ancient Egyptians. After days of continuous effort with copper chisels, they managed to drill less than 1 inch into granite. The ancient builders created holes over 3 feet deep with perfect circular precision. The evidence gets even more disturbing when you examine the internal chambers. To construct the complex network of passages and rooms inside the pyramid, workers would have needed constant illumination. Mainstream historians suggest they used oil lamps or torches. But here's the problem. Examinations of the internal chambers show absolutely no evidence of soot, smoke damage, or scorch marks anywhere on the ceilings or walls. This absence of smoke residue isn't just unusual, it's impossible if traditional lighting methods were used. Anyone who's ever worked in an enclosed space with open flames knows that soot accumulation is unavoidable. Yet somehow, ancient workers carved intricate passages and chambers in complete darkness, or they had access to some form of advanced lighting technology that left no trace. The precision of the internal construction is equally baffling. The Grand Gallery, a massive ascending corridor inside the pyramid, is built with such accuracy that the walls are straight to within fractions of an inch over their entire 150-foot length. The corbelled ceiling consists of 7 courses of stone, each course slightly overlapping the one below, creating a structure of incredible strength and beauty. Modern architects have studied this design extensively and concluded that it represents a level of engineering sophistication that rivals anything we can achieve today. The mathematical calculations required to ensure structural stability while maintaining such precise dimensions would challenge even our most advanced computer modeling systems. But perhaps the most mind-bending discovery involves the pyramid's internal temperature. Despite extreme temperature variations in the Egyptian desert, ranging from scorching heat during the day to near freezing cold at night, the internal temperature of the pyramid remains constant at exactly 68 degrees Fahrenheit year-round. This is the same as the average temperature of the Earth itself. This isn't coincidence. It's evidence of sophisticated engineering that takes into account thermal dynamics, air circulation, and possibly even geothermal principles that we're only beginning to understand. The pyramid appears to function as a massive climate control system, regulating its internal environment with a precision that modern buildings struggle to achieve. The acoustic properties of the pyramid's chambers present another impossible puzzle. When you speak or make sounds in certain chambers, the pyramid amplifies and resonates these sounds in ways that suggest the entire structure was designed as a massive acoustic instrument. Sound frequencies that match specific mathematical ratios produce enhanced resonance effects that seem to have been deliberately engineered into the design. Recent scientific analysis has revealed even more impossible features. The pyramid's mass and dimensions encode mathematical constants that weren't supposedly discovered until thousands of years later. The structure contains precise representations of pi, the golden ratio, and other advanced mathematical concepts embedded throughout its design. Every measurement, every angle, every proportion appears to have been calculated according to sophisticated mathematical principles that mainstream historians insist ancient Egyptians couldn't have known. Yet there it stands, a massive testament to knowledge that supposedly didn't exist. When you add up all this evidence, one conclusion becomes inescapable. The Great Pyramid wasn't built by people using primitive tools and simple technique. It was constructed using advanced technology that we're only beginning to understand. Technology that challenges everything we think we know about ancient civilizations. But if ancient Egyptians didn't possess this technology, where did it come from? Who had the knowledge and capability to create something so impossibly advanced? And why are modern authorities so determined to suppress this evidence and maintain the primitive tool narrative? The answers to these questions lead us to our next disturbing revelation. The man who controls what the world knows about Egyptian archaeology, and the lengths he'll go to keep certain truths buried forever. Behind every cover-up, there's always one person pulling the strings. In the world of Egyptian archaeology, that person is Dr. Zahi Hawass. For over 3 decades, this man has wielded more power over ancient Egyptian secrets than any pharaoh ever did. And the way he's used that power should terrify anyone who cares about the truth. Hawass didn't just stumble into his position of authority. He systematically climbed the ranks of Egyptian archaeology, eventually becoming Secretary General of Egypt's Supreme Council of Antiquities, and later Minister of Antiquities. These aren't just academic titles. They gave him absolute control over every excavation, every research permit, and every discovery made on Egyptian soil. But here's where it gets sinister. Instead of using his position to advance our understanding of ancient Egypt, Hawass has consistently blocked, banned, and buried research that challenges the official narrative. Independent researchers who've made groundbreaking discoveries have found themselves suddenly stripped of their permits, banned from Egypt, and their works suppressed. Let's start with the German engineer I mentioned at the beginning, Rudolf Gantenbrink. In 1993, Gantenbrink made one of the most significant archaeological discoveries of the 20th century. Using a small robotic camera, he explored narrow shafts inside the Queen's chamber and discovered something extraordinary. A limestone door fitted with 2 copper handles, sealed for over 4,000 years. The discovery sent shockwaves through the archaeological world. Here was physical evidence of something hidden inside the pyramid, something the builders went to great lengths to conceal. Media outlets worldwide covered the story, and pressure mounted for immediate exploration of what lay behind the mysterious door. But instead of celebrating this breakthrough, Hawass shut down the expedition. Gantenbrink was banned from further work in Egypt. His equipment was confiscated, and all research into the door was suspended indefinitely. And pressed for an explanation, Hawass gave vague excuses about protecting the monument and following proper procedures. 9 years passed. 9 years of public pressure and international attention before Hawass finally allowed another expedition to investigate the door. In 2002, a National Geographic team was permitted to drill a small hole through the barrier. The world watched as a tiny camera was inserted through the opening, expecting to finally see what ancient secrets lay hidden behind. But what they found was another door, another limestone barrier sealed just as tightly as the first. The expedition was immediately halted, and despite repeated requests from researchers worldwide, no further exploration has been permitted. That second door remains unopened to this day, its secrets locked away by Hawass's iron grip on Egyptian archaeology. But the Gantenbrink door isn't the only discovery Hawass has suppressed. In 2017, an international team of scientists used advanced muon radiography to scan the Great Pyramid without damaging it. This cutting-edge technology can see through solid stone using cosmic rays, revealing internal structures that would otherwise remain hidden. The results were extraordinary. The scan revealed a massive hidden chamber above the Grand Gallery, a void large enough to rival the pyramid's known chambers. It was the most significant architectural discovery inside the Great Pyramid in over a century. Scientists around the world hailed it as a breakthrough that could finally unlock the pyramid's secrets. Hawass's response? He dismissed the discovery, claiming the void was probably just a construction gap and refusing to authorize any investigation. Despite the international scientific community's excitement and offers of funding for further research, Hawass has blocked every attempt to explore this hidden chamber. Entrapping the void would be an attempt to cultivate arbitrary ignorance, and its exploitation would make the confusion of this research all the greater, he said. The pattern is always the same. Whenever researchers make discoveries that could challenge the official story, Hawass intervenes. He questions their methods, disputes their findings, and ultimately denies them access to continue their work. It's as if he's more concerned with protecting a predetermined narrative than uncovering the truth. Consider the case of Dr. Robert Schoch, the geologist who provided compelling evidence that the Sphinx shows signs of water erosion, suggesting it's far older than mainstream archaeology claims. Instead of engaging with Schoch's scientific findings, Hawass launched personal attacks against him, questioning his credentials and dismissing his research without providing counter-evidence. When researcher Robert Bauval proposed the Orion correlation theory, showing that the pyramids align with the constellation Orion as it appeared in 10,500 BC, Hawass's response was swift and harsh. He banned Bauval from Egypt and publicly ridiculed his work, despite the mathematical accuracy of Bauval's calculations. The list of researchers who've been banned, blocked, or silenced by Hawass reads like a who's who of independent archaeological investigation. Graham Hancock, John Anthony West, Christopher Dunn, and dozens of others have all faced Hawass's wrath for daring to question the official narrative. But perhaps the most disturbing aspect of Hawass's control is how he's manipulated media coverage of Egyptian archaeology. He's cultivated relationships with major television networks and documentary producers, ensuring that only his version of history reaches the public. Any documentary that doesn't conform to his narrative faces obstacles in gaining access to Egyptian sites. Hawass has also been accused of destroying evidence that doesn't fit the official story. Former colleagues have reported instances where artifacts were quietly removed from public view, research notes disappeared, and convenient discoveries were buried both literally and figuratively. The man who claims to be protecting Egypt's heritage has actually become its greatest obstacle to truth. By controlling access to archaeological sites and suppressing research that challenges mainstream theories, Hawass has created a system where only evidence supporting the official narrative is allowed to survive. But why? Why would someone supposedly dedicated to understanding ancient Egypt work so hard to prevent that understanding? The answer lies in what these suppressed discoveries really reveal. They don't just challenge academic theories. They threaten to overturn our entire understanding of human civilization. If the evidence shows that the pyramids are older than claimed, built with technology we don't understand, by people more advanced than we've been told, then everything we think we know about human history needs to be rewritten. And that threatens more than just academic careers. It threatens national identities, religious beliefs, and power structures that have been built on the current historical narrative. Making Hawass isn't just guarding Egyptian monuments. He's guarding a version of history that powerful interests need to maintain. But every door he refuses to open, every researcher he bans, every discovery he suppresses, only makes the truth more obvious. There are secrets buried beneath the sands of Giza. Secrets so significant that they've warranted decades of cover-up and suppression, and the harder Hawass fights to keep them hidden, the more certain we can be that the truth is far stranger and far more important than anything we've been told. But what exactly is he hiding? What lies behind those sealed doors that's so dangerous to the official story? The evidence we've uncovered points to something that would change everything we think we know about our past. Now that we've exposed the Gatekeeper and his web of suppression, it's time to reveal the forbidden evidence he's been so desperate to hide. What you're about to learn will shatter everything you thought you knew about ancient history. Because the evidence doesn't just suggest the pyramids are older than we've been told. It points to something far more terrifying. A lost civilization so advanced that acknowledging its existence would force us to completely rewrite the story of human development. Let's start with the evidence that's been hiding in plain sight for over a century, the Great Sphinx of Giza. For decades, mainstream archaeologists have insisted it was carved during the reign of Pharaoh Khafre, around 2500 BC. But geologist Dr. Robert Schoch discovered something that demolishes this timeline completely. The Sphinx shows clear evidence of water erosion, not wind erosion from sand, but deep, flowing water erosion that could only have been caused by sustained rainfall. The weathering patterns on the Sphinx's body are completely different from other monuments in the area. They show the unmistakable signs of water damage, with deep vertical channels carved by flowing water over extended periods. Here's the problem that mainstream archaeology refuses to address. The last time there was enough rainfall in the Sahara Desert to cause this type of erosion was at the end of the last ice age, approximately 12,000 years ago. That's 7,000 years before ancient Egyptian civilization is supposed to have existed. But Schoch's geological evidence is just the beginning. When researchers examined the Sphinx more closely, they discovered that the head appears to have been recarved from a much larger original sculpture. The proportions are completely wrong. The head is far too small for the body, suggesting it was modified by later Egyptian rulers who wanted to claim credit for an existing monument. Underground chambers discovered around the Sphinx using ground-penetrating radar have never been explored. These voids, some as large as rooms, remain sealed and off-limits to researchers. What are they hiding down there? What evidence of this older civilization lies buried beneath the Sphinx's paws? The age discrepancy doesn't stop with the Sphinx. The pyramid complex itself shows signs of being much older than mainstream archaeology admits. Robert Bauval's Orion correlation theory provides mathematical proof that the three pyramids of Giza align perfectly with the stars of Orion's belt, but not as they appeared in 2500 BC during Khufu's supposed reign. The alignment matches exactly how Orion appeared in the sky around 10,500 BC. This isn't approximate, it's precise to the degree. The ancient builders encoded this specific date into the very layout of the pyramids, creating a massive astronomical clock that points to a time thousands of years before Egyptian civilization is supposed to have existed. But the most terrifying evidence comes from inside the monuments themselves. Remember those granite boxes in the Serapeum of Saqqara? These massive stone containers, each weighing over 100 tons, show evidence of precision machining that exceeds anything we can achieve today. The internal corners are perfectly square, to tolerances of 0.0002 inches. The surfaces are polished to a mirror finish that would require diamond-tipped tools. When modern machinists examined these boxes, they were stunned. The precision required to create these artifacts would challenge the most advanced CNC machines in the world today. Yet we're supposed to believe they were carved with copper chisels and sand? Christopher Dunn's analysis of the granite work inside the Great Pyramid reveals even more impossible evidence. He found saw marks indicating blade lengths of over 30 feet, cutting through solid granite with feed rates that would destroy any ancient tool within seconds. The evidence points to advanced machinery using techniques we've only developed within the last century. But perhaps the most disturbing discovery involves the acoustic properties of these ancient sites. When researchers tested the resonant frequencies of the pyramid's chambers, they discovered something extraordinary. The chambers are tuned to specific frequencies that match the harmonic frequencies of the Earth itself. The pyramid appears to have been designed as a massive resonating device, capable of amplifying and focusing acoustic energy in ways we're only beginning to understand. Recent experiments have shown that certain chambers can produce infrasound frequencies that affect human consciousness, inducing altered states of awareness in people who spend time inside them. This isn't accidental. The ancient builders deliberately engineered these acoustic properties, suggesting they understood principles of sound, resonance, and possibly even consciousness that we're only rediscovering now. What were they trying to achieve? What was the real purpose of these monuments? The evidence extends far beyond Egypt. Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, officially dated to around 11,000 years ago, shows the same impossible precision stonework, massive stone pillars carved with intricate reliefs, arranged in complex patterns that demonstrate advanced knowledge of astronomy and mathematics. This site predates Stonehenge by 6,000 years and the pyramids by 7,000 years. Similar precision stonework appears at sites across the globe. Pumapunku in Bolivia, with its perfectly fitted stone blocks, showing evidence of advanced machining. The megalithic walls of Sacsayhuaman in Peru, constructed with stones so precisely cut that you can't fit a knife blade between them. All of these sites show the same impossible level of precision, the same evidence of advanced technology. The pattern is undeniable. Across the globe, we find evidence of a lost civilization that possessed technology far more advanced than anything mainstream archaeology admits. These weren't primitive people struggling with stone tools. They were master engineers who understood principles of physics, astronomy, and construction that we're only beginning to rediscover. But here's what makes this evidence truly terrifying for the establishment. If this advanced civilization really existed, then human history as we know it is completely wrong. The neat timeline of gradual human development from primitive hunter-gatherers to modern civilization is a lie. There was an advanced global civilization that existed thousands of years before our current historical timeline acknowledges any civilization at all. This lost civilization didn't just build monuments. They possessed knowledge that could revolutionize our understanding of energy, consciousness, and the very nature of reality itself. The acoustic properties of the pyramids, the precision of their construction, the astronomical knowledge encoded in their design, all point to technologies that could change everything about how we live. And that's exactly what the gatekeepers are afraid of. They're not just protecting archaeological theories, they're protecting a worldview, a power structure, an entire system of control that depends on keeping humanity ignorant of its true potential. The evidence is there, hidden in plain sight, suppressed by those who benefit from maintaining the official story. But every sealed door, every banned researcher, every piece of forbidden evidence only makes the truth more obvious. It was an advanced civilization. They built monuments that still stand today, and the knowledge they possessed could transform our world. The only question is, how long will we allow the gatekeepers to keep these secrets buried? We've journeyed through layers of deception, exposed impossible engineering, and revealed forbidden evidence that points to one inescapable conclusion. Everything we've been taught about human history is a carefully constructed lie. But the most terrifying question still remains. Why? Why go to such extraordinary lengths to hide the truth about our past? The answer will shake you to your core. Because this isn't just about protecting academic theories or national pride. This is about controlling humanity's understanding of its own potential. The evidence we've uncovered doesn't just prove that an advanced ancient civilization existed. It proves that human beings are capable of far more than we've been led to believe. Think about what we've discovered. The acoustic properties of the pyramid chambers that can alter human consciousness. The precision engineering that exceeds our modern capability, the astronomical knowledge that demonstrates a deep understanding of cosmic cycles and Earth's place in the universe. This wasn't just advanced technology. This was technology specifically designed to enhance human awareness and consciousness. The ancient builders didn't just construct monuments, they created devices for expanding human potential. The pyramid's internal chambers produce specific frequencies that induce heightened states of awareness. The mathematical constants encoded in its design reveal knowledge of universal principles that could revolutionize our understanding of reality itself. But here's what the gatekeepers truly fear. If humanity rediscovers these ancient technologies, if we learn to harness the same principles our ancestors understood, it would fundamentally shift the balance of power on this planet. A population that understands its true potential, that possesses advanced consciousness-enhancing technologies, becomes impossible to control. The current power structure depends on keeping humanity ignorant, divided, and focused on material concerns. If people discovered they possess capabilities far beyond what they've been taught, if they learn to access higher states of consciousness and understanding, the systems of control that dominate our world would crumble overnight. This is why researchers are banned, discoveries are suppressed, and evidence is buried. It's not about protecting ancient monuments, it's about protecting a system that benefits from human ignorance. The gatekeepers aren't just archaeologists and academics. They represent institutions and interests that have invested everything in maintaining the current paradigm. But the truth is leaking out despite their efforts. Independent researchers are connecting the dots, sharing information through channels they can't control. The evidence is mounting, and no amount of suppression can stop it forever. We're approaching a tipping point where the official story will become impossible to maintain. Behind those sealed doors in the Great Pyramid, beneath the Sphinx, in hidden chambers around the world, lies technology and knowledge that could transform human civilization, free energy systems that could end our dependence on fossil fuels, consciousness-enhancing technologies that could unlock human potential, healing modalities that could revolutionize medicine. All of it has been deliberately hidden from us. The ancient builders left us a message encoded in stone, mathematical constants that point to universal truths, acoustic chambers designed to awaken human consciousness. They knew this knowledge would be suppressed, so they built it into monuments so massive and precise that even when the knowledge was lost, the evidence would remain. Every time you look at the Great Pyramid, you're seeing proof that human beings are capable of incredible achievement, that our ancestors possessed knowledge and abilities we've been told never existed, that the gradual evolution from primitive to advanced is a lie designed to keep us from understanding our true nature. The gatekeepers want you to believe that human consciousness and capability have gradually improved over time, that we're at the pinnacle of human achievement. But the evidence proves the opposite. We're recovering from a fall, rediscovering knowledge that was once common, slowly remembering abilities that were once natural to our species. This is why the cover-up exists, not to protect ancient monuments, but to protect a worldview that keeps humanity limited and controlled. The moment we truly understand what we're capable of, what our ancestors achieved, everything changes. But change is coming whether the gatekeepers like it or not. Each new discovery, each piece of suppressed evidence that surfaces, each researcher who refuses to be silenced, brings us closer to the truth. The sealed doors will eventually be opened. The hidden chambers will be explored. The forbidden knowledge will be recovered. And when that happens, when humanity finally understands its true history and potential, we'll realize that we've been living far below our capabilities. We'll discover that the answers to our greatest challenges, the solutions to our most pressing problems, have been hidden in plain sight all along. The Great Pyramid isn't just a monument to a lost civilization. It's a beacon calling us to remember who we really are. The acoustic chambers aren't just ancient technology. They're tools designed to help us reclaim our full potential. The mathematical constants aren't just advanced knowledge. They're keys to understanding the fundamental nature of reality itself. The truth they don't want you to know is simple. You are far more powerful than you've been told. Your consciousness is capable of far more than you've been taught. And the knowledge to unlock that potential has been deliberately hidden from you. But it's still there, waiting in the darkness behind sealed doors, encoded in monuments too massive to destroy, preserved in stone for the day when humanity is ready to reclaim its birthright. That day is coming. The question is, will you be ready to handle the truth when it finally emerges? Because once you see through the lies, once you understand what's really been hidden from us, there's no going back to ignorance. The secrets of Giza are calling, the ancient knowledge is stirring, and no amount of gatekeeping can stop the truth from eventually breaking free. If this investigation has opened your eyes to possibilities you never considered, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Share this video with others who are ready to question everything they've been taught. Because the more people who know the truth, the harder it becomes to suppress. The forbidden secrets of the past are the keys to humanity's future. And that future is closer than the gatekeepers want you to believe.